Hello everyone. This is a program Capital Ideas Life, and I'm Mike Gibson. In one of our recent programs, we told you about those who care for the safety of Muscovites and help them in emergency situations. Today, we will continue our story about the hard work of the Moscow rescuers. Stay tuned.
Today on the program, where Moscow firefighters and emergency responders train for their profession. Where Moscow firefighters and rescuers recover their strength and health. Who monitors the security of Moscow's frozen reservoirs?
In addition to the Moscow River, there are many other smaller rivers in the capital of Russia, as well as ponds and small lakes. It is also important to ensure the safety of people in each of these locations. This is monitored by the City Water Rescue Service. This is one of the oldest rescue organizations in the Russian capital. This year, the service turned 146 years old. But before we go down to the water, let's find out where and how they train those who help and save people. The professions of emergency responder and firefighter are among the most difficult and dangerous. Therefore, before they begin to perform their duties, every emergency responder and firefighter must undergo special training and prove their abilities. After all, just one mistake, even a minor one, can lead to the injury and even death of victims and team members alike. To reduce the probability of such heroes to zero, in Moscow, there is the Training and Methodological Center for Civil Defense and Emergencies, where Moscow emergency responders and firefighters are trained. It is the leading educational institution in this field in the Russian capital.
During the 64 years of its existence, our Training and Methodological Center has certainly come a long way since its formation. Established on October 26, 1957, the first courses offered were on regional anti-aircraft defense. Later, they were developed and called civil defense courses. And so, along with the Ministry of Emergency Situations, the Training and Methodological Center for Civil Defense and Emergencies was created.
Every year, about 26,000 specialists undergo training in 107 different programs. 10 years ago, in 2011, specialists were being trained in only 24 areas.
We train specialists and heads of executive authorities of Moscow organizations on civil defense, protection in emergencies, fire and water safety. Of course, in addition to this, we train firefighters and emergency responders for our urban fire and rescue units, ship operators, 112 system operators, and emergency dispatchers. And we also provide additional training for our employees in occupational safety, first aid, and electrical safety.
The center trains not only full-time Moscow emergency responders and firefighters, volunteer emergency responders are also trained here. They learn how to provide first aid, mitigate the consequences of various emergencies, work with special equipment, and provide psychological assistance to victims. All volunteers are trained in accordance with the search and rescue profile.
This is a very important area of activity and covers a fairly large range of volunteers, which the Reserve Training Department works on. Every year, it trains about 150 people. Additionally, on the premises of the Training and Methodology Center, we hold training camps for reservists of Moscow. From 500 to 1,500 people take part in them every year.
The center has 2 lecture halls with capacities of 650 and 150. A cinema hall with 220 seats, a technical library, 2 conference halls, as well as more than 30 classrooms, a gym, and a swimming pool. Up to 650 students can be trained here at the same time. Each classroom has the necessary multimedia equipment for lectures and practical classes. On this simulator, rescuers are taught how to operate a boat. And behind us is an exact copy of the Stroginsky Bay. There are 3 main elements of the simulator for boat operators: the captain's cabin, a panoramic monitor, and a place for a specialist to control the software. For example, you can change the boat speed, weather conditions, or time of day with the help of an ordinary computer mouse.
The simulator allows you to change the scenario according to the training assignment. That is, change the water area, change the view of the ship and mooring facilities. These are piers to which moorings can be added. Other floating objects like navigational signs and other vessels, even sinking ones, can be added. Meteorological conditions can be altered. And, if necessary, the time parameters for this or that task can also be changed.
This simulator trains specialists of different levels, from beginners to professional emergency responders. Classes are held in small groups of up to 3 people.
Of course, it's harder when you're actually on board a ship. Here, in fact, it's kind of a big video game. It's just a simulator, but in principle, it is enough to repeat the moves in order to get the hang of it, to feel it. That is, it's still very useful.
At first glance, it does not seem difficult to operate a virtual boat. We decided to take a ride on one of the inlets of the Moscow River, the Strogina floodplain. We have a boat with 2 engines at our disposal. Under simulation conditions, there was a wind speed of about 5 meters per second and a slight swell on the water.
Let's try to get moving.
Okay, good. So we need to start?
Yes, launch is now engaged. Engine level forward. Gently, a little more.
Carefully add a little bit of power.
The propellers are about to start. And we'll start to move gently. Patrol the coastline. We'll make sure we don't get into any trouble. At this point, bathing is forbidden here, so people shouldn't be swimming. And motorized boats should not enter the water area. The Strogino floodplain is a protected area. Therefore, except for rescue boats, there should be no motorboats. Only rowboats are allowed. In this case, we have set a course for Serebryny Bor.
Okay, understood.
But we will not go in there, because your skills are not quite developed right now. We might run into the shore under the current circumstances.
In the event of a collision, breakdown, or other emergency situation, the software blocks the ship's operation. It is possible to continue sailing only after the effects of the situation are rectified. Wow, I'm even feeling a little bit seasick, just like in a real boat. After the virtual voyage, we were invited to swim for real, but so far, only in the pool. In this pool, you can practice real emergency situations on the water. And here, we're going to feel just like real rescuers. Today, in the practical lesson, rescuers practice 3 scenarios at once. First, you have to save a drowning man and not drown yourself, take the victim out of the water onto the shore, and give him first aid.
We come in from the rear, of course, but from the rear it can be very difficult at times. Here is the emergency responder and the drowning man. He tries to grab me. What do? I turn around, and he turns around, and there's no way I can get to him from behind. I make the first move, option 1. I grab his hand, I yank, and he's already here. Now I grab his chin, and with my left hand, I transport him to the shore. Now we're going to work out the elements here on land. I have to make sure you get it right. Michael, you and Vasya, go ahead. You in pairs accordingly. Okay, first move. Yes, swim up. By the hand, yes, by the hand. Pull. There you go. All right, yes. Yes, and work. Work.
To properly swim up to, grab, and transport a victim while on the land training seems simple and straightforward, but it is much more difficult to repeat all that when you're in the water. All the more if you find yourself in the open water near a drowning person. Therefore, to avoid tragic situations, Moscow emergency responders recommend that you be extra careful while swimming in the reservoirs of the capital. On the territory of the Moscow Training and Methodological Center for Civil Defense and Emergencies, there are not only classrooms. There is also a rehabilitation center for firefighters and emergency responders.
Firemen and emergency responders, not only in Moscow, but all over the world, work in aggressive environments with great physical demands. They suffer through high temperatures, smoke, and great stress on the job. They also see people's grief. And in order to reduce the risk of professional burnout and to provide rehabilitation, both medical and psychological, we have a rehabilitation center that provides all these activities.
In this rehabilitation center, rescuers heal their bodies after hard and dangerous work.
Hello, hello.
Pavel, hello. Nice to meet you.
Michael, you can read the information about our rehabilitation center, but let me show it to you.
Good. Very interesting.
This is where it all starts, with the reception area. Then the emergency responders go through to the doctors. We have a neurologist, we have a physician.
Interesting.
Here's the therapist's office. Here we have a urologist, and then we have some other procedures.
Good. I hear you have an interesting capsule here.
Yes, please, you can see it here. There's a light and heat treatment, and also an oxygen treatment. Rescuers can lie down after their shift and rest. There's detoxification, rest and recuperation. Why don't you try it? See for yourself.
Yes, with great pleasure.
Go on, try.
Good. Great. This physiotherapy capsule resembles a small spaceship from a science fiction movie. It is also called a spa capsule. While the patient is relaxing in it, he breathes pure air with a high oxygen concentration. According to doctors, it helps to remove toxins from the body and allows the emergency responder to recover in a short period of time. The session lasts about 20 minutes. Thanks a lot. It was great. To date, the center specialists have developed 7 special rehabilitation programs. The main goal of these programs is to prevent and treat occupational diseases of firefighters and rescuers, rehabilitate the body after injuries, reduce the risk of professional burnout, as well as rehabilitation after a coronavirus infection.
Here we have the physical therapy room. This is where the classes take place. And here is where our emergency responders work out.
In the therapeutic exercise room, movement is the treatment. A physical therapist selects an individual set of exercises for each patient, which are done over the course of 10 sessions or more. The center also has a hydrotherapy department. Here, ailments are treated using one of the oldest methods, water procedures. Reflex therapy, laser, and magnetic therapy methods are used for rehabilitation.
We also have a speleological chamber, a salt cave. This is a room where the walls are lined with special stone from the Altai. In this room, we do treatment and rehabilitation after respiratory diseases.
How does it help?
Special ions are emitted by stones. Through breathing in these ions, the treatment takes place.
After completing a full rehabilitation course, Moscow's emergency responders and firefighters are ready for a new professional challenge. And no longer in classrooms or on simulators, but for real emergencies in the city. Today, we had a very busy day. There was a lot of water and a whole lot more impressions. And now, while we're filming this text, the rescuers are rushing off to help in different parts of Moscow, including by air. But that is a completely different story. I'm Mike Gibson. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.
A Big Asia Ltd. production. This program was produced with the support of the Department for External Economic and International Relations of the Moscow government.